Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. We're going to have your questions answered about all things professional development programs. My name is Kirstin Hall. I'm the Senior Program Manager for a full slate of professional development programs. So that includes the Leaders Development Conference, TMM, Transportation Mid Manager, Transportation Senior Executive, and Transportation Mid Manager Level 2. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues. You'll see Kirby Farrell on here. She's going to be fielding questions from you all. Feel free to utilize the Q&A function on that black bar on your screen below. And you'll also have my colleague Gabriella Alarcon. If you have any issues with tech, feel free to ping her. But they'll be around for your to joining us today. Please feel free to reach out to them if you have a question for Kirby and if you have any tech issues. I give a big thank you to them for being here with me today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I'm going to answer, what this is going to look like is I'm going to give a broad overview of each program and kind of what to expect if you were accepted into the program of your choice. This is only an hour. And I promise you, that's a good thing because if I were to go into every program in depth, we would be here until 3 p.m. Eastern. So if there are any other questions that you have that maybe you think of after the webinar, feel free. There's an email address, and feel free to send our team an email, and we'll get back to you as soon as practical. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. It's not jumping in. Hold on one second. Okay, so about us. We are, Center for Transportation. We're founded in 1921 by William Phelps Eno. He's known widely as the father of traffic regulation. So some of you might be familiar with his work, but if you're not, he actually designed the traffic regulations for the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. He also designed Columbus Circle in New York City. He also created the sidewalk, the roundabout, and the stop sign. Believe it or not, we are based in Washington D.C. So if you hear a lot of cars zooming by, picking up on my screen, that's because we're about 2 or 3 blocks from the White House. We are a independent, nonpartisan think tank focused on transportation policy and professional development. And we are dedicated to shaping public debate and informing policy and building capacity, across all transportation modes. So again, just an overview of our mission because it really roots us in the work that we do daily. So our mission is to empower and build leaders who navigate challenges and drive change within the transportation sector. And our vision is to have a transportation system that works for everyone, that's built on innovation and that is informed by research and led by capable professionals. And our values, I mean, as I just mentioned, we are an independent, nonpartisan, impact driven, leadership and collaboration driven organization. And those are our core values from our policy work to the professional development side. So I'm going to jump into the first program here, and that is the Leaders Development Conference. This program is for I would say it's for the emerging leaders. We technically do not have an emerging leaders program. APTA does have a very wonderful emerging leaders program, but this would be our emerging leaders program. This program is for you if you are pursuing a secondary degree in a transportation related field. You are enrolled in the 2026 academic year or later. You're eager and ready to make an impact in the transportation sector and you want to network and gain real world insights beyond the classroom. We have a myriad of people joining us. We have master's candidates and PhD students, people who focus on law and policy to more civic work to freight and technology. It's a very, very diverse group of folks who join us in DC. It is from June 1st to June 4th in 2026. And it is a program that's mixed with, it's really an emphasis on networking, learning leadership development skills, just the very foundational aspects of leadership development skills. It also introduces many people to Washington, D.C. Some folks who join us have never been to the nation's capital. And so this program allows you to be a part of a very cohesive and strong cohort to you'll be on Capitol Hill, you'll be bopping around the Capitol and also Washington, D.C. at large, learning together. There's also a project that you would be doing, like kind of like a mini capstone project, I believe, at the end of the program. It is intensive, and it is not held at a hotel, but it actually is held at Eno's headquarters here in DC. And again, it's a mix of networking. You'd be meeting with transportation leaders and thought partners. You would be meeting with other Leaders Development Conference alumni as well. And we also have great events for you. We put on a really, really good shindig at, I must say so myself. Gabriella can concur with me. But this is really for those who are pursuing a secondary degree, whether a master's candidate or a PhD. So to apply to the LDC program, and you'll see the application requirements, they'll look relatively similar, give or take a few different requirements. But of course, first you have to have an Eno account, right? So go ahead and log in and create your Eno account and get started on your application. And then you'll have to fill out your statement of interest. Please be sure to download those questions online. And just these questions are just questions that tell us about you and your leadership journey. You'll also need to provide a resume or a CV. For the LDC program, it's a two-page limit, and also a nomination letter submitted by a faculty advisor, a department chair, or a dean. And then once you have that, then you will formally go under the review process. We have a review committee that reviews all of the applications on a scoring system, right? You will be notified of your acceptance into the LDC program no later than end of February at this juncture is what we're estimating, right? But of course, we have to wait on the committee to make their final decision or their final recommendations to us. Once we receive those recommendations of who should be a part of the cohort, we then will send out a welcome letter with more information that details the program. So I'm going to stop there really quick because I actually want to get a tempo of who's all in the room and the programs that you are interested in. So I'm going to ask my friend Gabriella to launch a poll here. Low stress, low stress. Just once the poll pops up, could you please answer just what program are you most interested in learning more about today so we can kind of gauge who's all who's all here. Gabby, can you tell me if answers are rolling in?
Yes, yes, we do have a bunch of answers. So, our majority, it looks like TMM. A lot of people here are interested in TMM. In second place, we got TSC, and then third place LTC.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That's great. I just wanted to test the room to see, who is interested in what. So the TMM part doesn't surprise me. That is by far probably it is the program that we hold the most. There are three TMM programs in a year, but we'll get more to that. Okay, in just one minute. For LDC, you should know that there is a program cost. It is $4,000 per student, but tuition is, there it goes. Yeah, TMM, 74%. Okay, I hear you. So there is a $4,000 student tuition for LDC, but this tuition is generously covered by sponsors and the Fellows Fund. There is a $100 materials fee, and that is because it includes transit passes, a smart trip, Here that is here based in DC, and also various program materials. You will get, just your own booklet and other materials as part of the cohort. Travel costs are at the responsibility of the student, and however, we do have travel scholarships available up to $1,000 based on need. Breakfast, lunch, and snacks are provided daily, and fellows are reimbursed after the program for any accrued per diem costs. So any the GSA, government GSA for the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area would be applied here. You would submit that cost, and we would reimburse you for your stay here in DC for the program. So that is the LDC program. Again, please feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A, and I'll be sure to answer them to the best of my ability once we get to the Q&A session. All right, next up, the Transportation Senior Executive Program. So the TSC program is our most intensive program. This program leans in on organizational theory, leadership theory. It is really dense and it does require a lot out of you. Some of a transportation luminary who is a member of who's a TSC alumni is actually Phil Washington, out of who is the CEO of Denver International Airport, and I believe he completed the program probably. I don't even want to say the date, but he is a TSC alumni, and this program is for you if and it is designed exclusively for executive leaders. And so you do not have to be in the C-suite to be a part of this cohort, but you do need to be, the up chain needs to be showed directly to the C-suite. So about 2 to 3 rungs below. So if your CEO is here, you should be around 2 to 3 rungs below from that executive C-suite. We recognize that all organizations are different. They're very varying sizes. So please do not let that discourage you if maybe you're a director at your organization and maybe that is the highest level, the most executive level at your organization. Please do not be discouraged. Please apply to the TSC program. It's not just about, what your title is, but more so about your experience and what, you will be able to get out of the program for where you are currently in your career, right? This program is for you if you're currently serving in the C-suite or in a senior executive role. You must be responsible for leading a team of direct reports. You should have 3 years of senior or executive level experience, and you should be ready to advance your career towards top leadership positions in transportation. This program is really to help you see to not only just get the professional development aspect of the leadership theory, organizational theory of how to make change within an organization, how to successfully lead teams of people, but also to see, is this really what you want to do? Do you want to be in the C-suite? Do you want to be number one, number two, number three at an organization? By the end of this program, you should have a clear idea of if that is the journey you want to go on, right? You will hear from VIP guests the entire week. We'll kick off the week with a VIP dinner on that Sunday. And then you'll have a VIP reception on that Thursday as part of graduation. It's a whole big affair, and we have a really lovely time. Okay, so again, you will by the end of this program, you will know whether or not you would like to continue that trajectory to be a senior executive leader. We do a 360. The 360 is a very robust tool, a leadership development tool, where it is sent out to you. You will receive a link, and then you will send it to your colleagues, direct reports, board members, to they'll ask candid questions about you, your leadership style, your growth, your strengths, and also your growth spots. And this is where you would apply that 360 leadership assessment into the daily sessions here at the Transportation Senior Executive Program. It's going to be in Arlington, Virginia in March, and I do hope that it is going to be a very beautiful March. I think, and correct Kirby, I might be wrong. I think it might be cherry blossom season here in DC. It's kind of iffy. But it'll be a beautiful time in Arlington, Virginia. If you're not familiar with the DC area, it's just right across the Potomac River, across the bridge. So you could actually take the DC Metro directly into DC proper. Similarly, to apply for the TSC program, create an account, fill out your statement of interest, answering all the questions. Please, friends, be sure to answer every single question with intention. You know, if your application is incomplete, it will render your application disqualified, right? So please be sure to answer every statement of interest question. Please provide your resume up to 4 pages for the TSC program. You'll also need a nomination letter signed or submitted by your organization's president, the GM CEO, or any other C-suite leader. We've had CEOs join us before. Let's say you're a CEO of an organization, then you would need the president of the board to provide your nomination letter or someone similar. Okay, and then again, you once you apply, then your application would be reviewed by the TSC selection committee using a scoring system, and then if accepted, you will be sent an email. With next steps. This would be to register for the course. Okay, so if TSC is kicking off in March, this is a quick timeline. This is a quick turnaround because TSC is actually the first program up for us every year, right? So the application deadline is January 23rd. You will hear notification no later than the second week of February, and then you'll jump into the 360, right? So it moves very, very quick. So if accepted, be sure to have your ducks in a row. Just start getting notifying people that you'll be out the end of mid to end March, and start getting your affairs in order so that you can come to the program fully focused and not worrying about what's going on at work. Though I know that sometimes people like to pull us into things, but I'm just giving you some sage advice here from what I've seen over the years. Okay.
Hey, Kurt, I'm going to pop in real quick and have you answer a question here. Someone has asked about the application process and whether or not they have to pay to apply to the programs.
No, no, you do not have to pay to apply to that is, I've heard wild things before, but no, you do not have to pay to apply for the program. It is free of charge. Any other TSC question?
No, that is good for now. I will add that cherry blossoms were just about in full bloom during TSE last year, but of course, cherry blossom season kind of depends on when weather gets cold, when it starts to warm up, and all of those other factors. So you have a pretty good chance.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. Listen, this is what we're known for here in DC, amongst other things. But the cherry blossoms is such a beautiful sight. Thank you so much, Curb. The TSC program is $6,500 per participant, and your tuition covers most meals. You will have daily hot breakfast, hot lunch, and light snacks throughout the day. This will cover your 360 assessment, program materials, and then facilitation specialists, a team that will be on site with us that will lead the program, right? The program is not led by myself or Gabby, but it is led by leadership development professionals. Um, Travel costs and lodging are not included in the tuition. That is a cost that is attributed to you or to your organization. But we do have the APTA Foundation Frank Lichtansky Scholarship. I've been practicing that all day, which covers the full program tuition for one participant of a small/medium-sized transit agency. So this would mean if you're, at a small or medium-sized transit agency, when you're applying for the program, you'll see a box that says, would you like to be considered for the APTA Lichtansky Scholarship? And you would click that, and then we would send that you would send your application along with the pile of the other people who are interested in that the scholarship to be reviewed, right? So thank you to APTA for providing that great resource for the TSE program. So don't forget that there is a scholarship available to you here if you are of us are you if you are employed at a small or medium transit agency, okay? All right. So now we are going to get into to the TMM program. I'm happy to let you know that my friend Kirby here is a recent graduate of the TMM program in Cleveland. So if you have any questions about her experience, or if you want to hear about her experience at TMM, Kirby throwing you on the spot here, girl, I'm so sorry. But if you want to, I'm sure she would be more than happy to let you know about her experience with TMM. But the TMM program, this program is specifically for mid-managers, okay? This program is held all around the nation, whereas TSE is traditionally held in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and same with LDC, traditionally held in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the DMV as we lovingly call it. TMM is a program that actually travels around the nation. So, for instance, last year, we had a TMM program in San Francisco, and we also had a TMM program in Cleveland, Ohio. It's a wonderful program, and I don't know if you see the woman in the flower dress here, but she is actually our lead facilitator, Dr. Danielle Lyman Torres, and she is wonderful. And she and her team of esteemed colleagues will be guiding you through the program, right? So this program is for you let me tell you the locations because we actually just released this today. Is that right, Kirby? Thank you for clarifying because sometimes I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Okay, so these are the locations for the TMM 2026 program. Session one is going to be held in Arlington, Virginia, again in the DC area. Session two, we're bringing this back, right? Because session two is an online iteration of the TMM program. And while I recognize that most people would like to go in person, there are some people who actually, believe it or not, do not like to travel. And there are some people who actually have responsibilities at home for caretakers, or maybe the budget is not there to send folks to travel. This is to meet people where they are, the mid manager online program, right? So you would cover the same subject matters, you would go through the same leadership assessments, but just online. And so it will be for 4 sessions starting on May 19th, and it'll be every week. So May 19th, and then the following week, May 26th, June 2nd, and the final session on June 9th. And it'll be 4 hours, 4.5 hours for each session. So we're not holding you hostage the entire day, okay? That gives you time to have your course and then digest it, and then also maybe even apply what you've learned through the rest of that week and then come back and do it all again. It's a wonderful course, and we decided to bring it back because we truly did want to meet people where they were, especially given the climate of things these days, right? So, our first session, though, will be April 27th, starting April 27th in Arlington, Virginia. And then the session two will be TMM Online. And then a session three will be in Seattle, Washington, starting July 27th. That session will be hosted by Sound Transit. Yes, Sound Transit will be hosting us, and we're very grateful. And then session four will be September 21st in Dallas, Texas, and that will be hosted by Dallas Area Rapid Transit and at Dallas Area Rapid Transit. So, Kirby, the Yeehaw agenda is in full effect in September. And so we're so thankful that to these partnering agencies. Each in-person program will likely have a tour of some facility at each respective organization. Um, you can also expect just, similar to the TSC program, you'll have a graduation reception as well on that Thursday. for each in-person session. And you will also undergo a leadership assessment, not a 360, but and most recently we have started with the DISC. So the DISC assessment is an assessment that kind of gives you a broad overview of your personality at the office, right? Just how you work, how you engage with people, how you get things done. It is a wonderful assessment. Are you an IS, Kirby? I think she said, I think so. An IS, I am a C, but I think we're getting too into the weeds. But once you're part of the program, you'll see what we mean when it comes to the DISC assessment. This is also encompassed in your as part of your tuition as well. I do want to note, and this is very important, the September session here falls during Yom Kippur. So please make note that the September session does overlap with the Yom Kippur holiday. So please, if you observe, please consider applying to any other in-person or virtual session, whether in Arlington in April or Seattle, Washington in July. Again, the final session, September 21st, the week of September 21st, falls on the Yom Kippur holiday. So please, please, please make note of that when you begin your application and when the application asks you of your preferred session. I do want to note that we try our very best to put for those who are accepted into the programs, we try our very best to put people in their preferred session. If you want, let's say you want to go to Seattle, we'll try our very best, but we have to weigh the number of participants and also just the diversity needs of the program, right? So just know that the session that you choose is not guaranteed. But I would say, and I would recommend that if you can get your application in, the sooner the better. Uh, because it's just, as those applications roll in, if you're at the top, and let's say you get in as the selection committee is going through and trying to put people into their preferred sessions, you know, need I say more, right? So I would recommend getting those applications in sooner rather than later. And don't get me wrong, I understand we're all busy, but if you can, again, so TMM is for you if you are a mid-level manager working in a cross-functional role and within the transportation space. It's transportation mid-manager. It's not specifically for transit. We've had people who worked in freight. We've had people who worked uh, at the ports. We've had people who work on bike lanes. It's not just transit focused. So if you are not at a transit organization, but you are at some other role within the transportation world, by all means, please put your application through. I find that the more diverse that our program is of people with different backgrounds, the more robust it is, right? So, um, this program is for you if you have more than 5 years of experience in the transportation industry, if you are ready to excel your career advancement and leadership readiness, and this kind of delves into if you have a direct report or will soon manage a team of direct reports. What we see in the mid-manager program are folks who will either be managing people for the first time or are currently managing or are new to managing a full team of direct reports, right? This program will highlight leadership, the art of delegation. Gosh, I know that is one thing I need to work on for myself. Delegating, coaching, how to effectively give feedback to your team amongst other things. So, this program is for you if you are any of these things in more. If you categorize yourself in any of these things, um, or anything else. So, I'm going to stop here because just going to throw to Kirby to see if there are any questions regarding the TMM program.
You read my mind because I was about to interrupt you and see if I could ask a question.
Yeah.
You have a good question sitting here that's about the application process. Someone has asked, do you need a sponsor, an alumni sponsor for any of these programs?
No, you do not need an alumni sponsor for any of these programs. We do love it when your letter of recommendation does come from a program alumni, whether TSC, TMM, or LDC. But no, that is not a requirement.
Awesome. And a second question that you have here about TMM specifically is someone has asked what other, could you repeat the part about assessments? Is it just the DISC assessment for TMM?
We have the DISC assessment, and then we have the Johari window assessment, which is similar to DISC, but it just provides you with an overview of your leadership styles in particular. Right. So the disc provides you an overview of your communication styles, maybe how you are in meetings, how you handle conflict, how you communicate with colleagues. The Johari window assessment focuses on just specific ways in how you develop as a leader in leadership.
Awesome. And then another one that's here on TMM is does the participant attend three of the four in-person sessions or just one?
You would attend just one of the in-person sessions. I would be so blown away if someone could attend all four. I'd be like, whoa. But no, it is just one session. So let's say your session of choice is Arlington, Virginia. You would then be accepted into the Arlington, Virginia cohort and spend the whole week with us. It is a week-long program. I do want to say, and this is what makes Zeno stand apart. If you are accepted into this program, any of our programs, what I've noticed is that depending on how the program your experience depends greatly on what you and your other colleagues put in. What you want to get out the program is what you put in. Kirby, would you say that as an alumni?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think you can kind of tailor your experience to how much effort you're hoping to put into it. If you really, really engage with your colleagues, especially in your breakout sessions, I think you'll leave with a deeper connection and level of engagement and understanding of yourself and others from that. Whereas if you come in kind of detached and hoping not to engage or really interact with people too terribly much, the experience won't be as beneficial for you.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a really good note, Kirby. All of our programs are intensive. They're week-long programs, and I'm going to let you know that if accepted, we are going to ask a lot out of you. It's not to scare you, but it's going to be you're going to be challenged to think. You're going to be challenged to think. You're going to be challenged to do things that might make you feel uncomfortable in a way that's like you might have to create a sketch or something. You might have to, maybe speak up and be more vulnerable than maybe you would like. That's all a growth area for a lot of us, and you will be in great company. But what you put into our programs is what you give out. Our team here on my side and Dr. Danielle and her team are going to give 110% no matter every single day. And all we ask is that you also give as much as you can into the program and give 100%, maybe not 100%, but if you could at least give 80%, maybe one day, maybe on another day, the next day you're 95. By Thursday, you will be ready to go home. Okay, that is the truth. Kirby knows. Okay, but that's because we are going from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily, and then most folks at the end of the day, either they're like exhausted, like I actually need some time to regroup to myself. I'm gonna order in dinner at my room, which is totally fine. But then some folks in San Francisco, folks went to a baseball game. And then folks also went sightseeing together, and then they also had dinner together. So this is a great time for you to advance your network 100%. You never know when you need someone to lean on. You never know when you might need a tip for maybe a job that you're interested in. You say, I know Kirby works there. Let me call her and ask her about it. This is a perfect uh, this is a perfect program to really enhance your professional development, your professional network, rather, excuse me.
Yeah. Kirsten, you have one comment here that I really want to share. Um,
Okay.
Someone has said that they just wanted to say that they did TMM online and it was still a great benefit. So for anyone out there that's thinking about TMM virtual, you have someone in here vouching for it in the comments.
Oh, I'm
And
so glad.
yeah, they have agreed that yes, it has a lot to do with what you bring to the table as far as your effort and willingness to connect.
Oh, I'm so glad. If that person did TMM virtual, then they probably did it with me. That was our first, did it in 2020 and 2021. So I don't know your name, but it's good to see you again. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comment. Um, so similar to the programs that I mentioned prior, LDC, TSC, the TMM program, you will need to create your account. Again, be sure to answer all of your statement of interest questions telling us about your leadership journey. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate, if you do not answer all of the questions, your application will be deemed incomplete. You'd be surprised what we've seen. In the past, I've seen 3 sentences. That is going to deem your application incomplete, right? You'll need a updated resume or CV. We do have links that will help you that'll give you tips on how to update your resume. So if you haven't looked at your resume in a while, and I know sometimes if you're somewhere for 5 years and you haven't need to update your resume, I would warmly recommend that you take another look at it and just kind of tweak it a little bit, okay? You will need a nomination letter. This nomination letter should be by direct supervisor or senior leader at your organization, and then once submitted, then you just await notification. Um, TMM, you should hear back no later than mid-March, I will say, because the first one is no, for TMM, you should hear back no later than February, right? Mid-February, because the first one kicks off in April, right? Again, that is another one that is a tight turnaround depending on which program you would like to attend. So if you are interested in Arlington, then that would be a quick turnaround from getting the notification of acceptance to starting the program in late April. A little earlier this year, but that's okay. So the program cost, so the in-person cost is $5,350, while the virtual is 3,800. In person, um, this covers most meals. You have a daily hot breakfast, lunch, and light snacks throughout the day. We have coffee, tea, juice for you all day. Same for the LDC program, same for the TSC program. Your tuition covers leadership assessments, program materials, the graduation reception, and Dr. Danielle and her team, the facilitation specialists. The program materials for the virtual session, you will be sent a a box, an box with all of your swag. I can't tell you what it is, but all of your swag, and then also um your your program notebook with all of the resources in there. Okay. So when you apply and are accepted into the virtual program, you'll be asked to provide your preferred shipping address so that we can ship you your program materials. Travel costs and lodging are not included in the program in within for the program, and we do not currently have any scholarships available at this time. But trust me, our VP of development is currently working on scholarships for the TMM program because we see how much it is needed for some of our folks out there. So hopefully we'll have something similar to the scholarship with TSC to the TSC I cannot get it right. Lichtansky scholarship. Okay. Um, I'll hold there again for TMM. Kirby, are there any more questions that you have?
Yes, this might be kind of spanning across programs, but someone has asked, is there a program cost that's different for public sector folks?
No, every cost that you see is a flat. is a flat across sectors? That's a good question, though.
It was a good question. And another great question about this one's about TSE, but I think this applies to all programs. Is this person has said, how many evening hour activities are outlined for the Transportation Senior Executive Program? For those that are local, is it worthwhile to still stay with the other participants at the hotel in question to not lose out on the full experience?
That's a really good and thoughtful question. We do have people who are local, and what they do is it depends on your preference and what you would want to do. We do have some folks who, since they're early mornings and kind of going late into the night, they're local, they will stay at the hotel. We've had some people stay at the hotel maybe just a few nights, maybe those first few days, and then go home. And we've had some people stay the entire week. Um, and then on the other in the other vein, we have people who drive in and park and come in early, join for breakfast, and then may go out to eat with the cohort and then head back home. It depends on where you are situated to the DC area. I would say if you're within the Beltway, as we call it, you would be able to get away with, going home every morning. Still account for traffic. Still account for traffic if you're driving or metroing. But if you live a bit further out, I would recommend staying at a hotel because those would be really, really early mornings and late nights.
Absolutely. Thanks for that question. And then one more that would be cross-program as well. Someone has asked, will we know the role slash company or industry organization, whatever that looks like, makeup of our group in advance? So will we have some kind of
Yes.
breakdown of
Yes, yes, you will. You receive, so when you are accepted into the program, there's actually a website that we built for you that will have all of the program information. We'll have an agenda. It will have links to the preferred hotels. It will have a list of a bio book, which is a biography book, which is comprised of all the members of your cohort. It will have their bio. It will have their email address. It will have their title and where they work. So before you go into the program, you'll have an idea of who's in the room with you and maybe someone that you want to connect with. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Kirsten. There was one more question that was asking about having to take time off to engage with the program. I answered it in the chat, but I think it's worthwhile to flag here. They were essentially saying, this program is 8 to 5 each day, so I have to take all of those days off from work.
Most people do because it is so intensive. Let me just paint the day for you, right? So you wake up, we start for TSC, I'll just for example, breakfast is at maybe 8:30, so 8:30 to 9:15 or something like that. And then you go into your first impact group, and then you come back and then you're in session working through modules for about 3 hours. Then you have lunch. And this is where people kind of peel off to kind of answer any emails or anything because I haven't 100% seen someone deplug themselves from work 100%, right? But then you come back from lunch and then you have more VIP guests and VIP guest speakers. And then you also have more modules that you complete up until 5:30. So I would say if you can, and if your organization supports you in doing so, I would recommend taking that whole week off from work. There are some people who wake up early. What I've noticed about the executives in particular is that they're early risers. There are people who wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Some people like to wake up early, and some people like to work during lunch, and then some people like to work afterwards, depending on what they have going on. There are some people who also step away when there is a meeting that they just can't get out of, or if there's an emergency. We're all adults here, we're not going to, you're not going to be pinged for missing 20 minutes of class, but we do want you to get to be as present as possible so that you can get a lot out of it. This is an investment, right? This is an investment, a financial investment, from the program to the travel to the hotel. This is a full investment, right? So we want you to get as much as you can out of it. Get your money's worth, you know?
Absolutely. Hey, in that same breath as the last question, can you go back through each of the programs and say the number of days the program is and the approximate number of hours per day, including TMM virtual? Because that one was specifically asked about.
Okay, give me 1 second.
If you can, oh, I know, or if you
TS,
could just say Sunday to,
yeah, okay. You saw me scratch my head like, ooh.
I know you
Um,
were like 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, not the
I was not a
numbers.
math major, you know. That's perfectly fine. So TSC, I would say you were in class for you start on Sunday, and it starts on Sunday, that's about 4 hours. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is the last day, it would be around, I would say, account for eight, it's like an 8 hour day. It's like an 8 hour work day, including lunch, right?
Yeah.
So however that shakes out, I can't do the maths, as they say in the UK, but TSC 4 hours on Sunday and then 8 hours Monday through Thursday. For TMM, we start on Monday with lunch. So that is about 5 hours on Monday. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's about 8 hours, Tuesday through Thursday. And then Friday, it's about 3 hours because it's a half day to account for travel needs. So you'll come in, you'll have breakfast on that Friday, that last day, and we are out no later than 11:30. Would you say, Kirby? It's a really
Yeah.
quick day. Yeah. And we
Yeah.
usually have a VIP speaker on that final TMM day. For TMM virtual, 4.5 hours. So I would say maybe 20 hours, I would say, maybe just for a buffer.
Awesome. Perfect.
Okay. Woo, had me stressed. Oh my goodness.
Sorry about that.
No, you're all good. Okay. And I do want to note that we do have the Transportation Mid Manager Level 2 program. So this is the only, program that requires a prerequisite. Okay. This program, to be a part of this program, you must have already completed TMM. So Kirby's next program would be TMM2 Momentum. This past year, we held it in Toronto, which was very great. And the wonderful women that you see here, this was at our graduation reception, right? And this program prepares you for the transportation senior executive program quite literally, but also it just gives, it is more intensive than TMM, and you dive deeper more into the organizational theory part of it. These are people who are seasoned managers, right, as opposed to TMM, where it's for new managers or people who are new to having a direct report. TMM2 rather, excuse me, is for people who are seasoned managers, and they also manage a a, s- a- a group of direct reports, or manage, a whole, section at work, right? So, um, transportation transportation service or service planning. Tamisha right here on the far left. She manages all service planning, and all the people report to her within that faction of the organization. So TMM2, please keep that on your radar. This is going to be every other year. So it returns spring, summer 2027. Similar application process to all of the other programs within our portfolio. So please be on the lookout. You should hear something about TMM2 in mid 2026. It's a great program. And I do want to, oh, go ahead, Curb.
So, I wanted to flag this question for you. Someone asked, does TMM2 have an assessment?
No, TMM2 does not have an assessment. Actually, TMM2 does have an assessment. I can't recall it, but it is at this time. But It is done with the with Wiley, with the Wiley group. Um, no, I'm sorry, it's done with Gallup. It's a Gallup
Oh,
assessment.
strengths assessment thing.
Yeah, it's a strengths assessment. It's
Yeah.
falls in the grouping with that. It's not as intricate as the 360 though, but
Yeah.
it still is beneficial.
Yeah, and we can absolutely, in our follow-up email, when we send you all the recording, we can share information about the assessments from each program if that would be helpful to everyone. I also wanted
Yes.
to know, someone sent a great question in here that I think is very frequent. It's one that we often hear. Someone was essentially saying, I am unsure which level of, which program I would fall into. I'm not sure if I would be a little advanced for TMM and maybe a little bit green for TSE. If you all are in that situation, please feel free to drop your email address, or Kirstin can share the best email address to contact her. So if you share yours here, we will reach out to you, or you can reach out to us and we can chat through what this looks like, your situation in particular, and kind of provide suggestions and recommendations as far as what program you should apply to.
Absolutely, Kirby. Absolutely. Actually get this email multiple times a year for people who are unsure, of where they fall. Um, you'd be surprised of actually where we recommend you go. So please go ahead and shoot us an email. My email's coming on the next slide, um, I believe. So
Oh, and
um,
Kirsten, I received a message that TMM2 actually does do the 360.
Team M2 used to do the 360. As of last year, we pivoted.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll send this all in the follow-up email, y'all.
Yes, we will. Um, the application deadline for all programs is January 23rd. 2026 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So if you're on the West Coast, if you're Central, heavy on the Eastern time, right? Don't let that time change fool you. And if you are accepted into the program, as mentioned, you will receive a notification letter via email with detailed program information and next steps. So the email will uh, line out the dates and the due dates of anything that we need. So the registration deadline to complete any assessment, whether it's a 360 or the disc. So just know that you will never be left in the dark. I am good for sending an email. I am good for sending reminders. I would recommend using your calendar and putting all of those deadlines on your calendar so that you do not have to hear from me and you don't have to be worried about whether or not you completed an assessment or deliverable. Um, I would be gotta have the arrow bounce. I'm gonna go into the Q&A session. We're kind of already in that right now, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the best place to get in contact with me and our team. Um, Feel free to shoot an email at pdpsupport@enotrans.org. That email is managed by our team, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, or maybe a question that you thought of while, walking or driving to work. So please, 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 by all means, feel free to shoot us an email. And if there are any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you all for your patience.
Yeah, I'm going to give folks a few more minutes to drop a couple questions in if they care to. You've knocked out a ton, Kirsten, so thank you. A question from me to you is you get a very interesting angle to see this program. You really get a bird's eye view on all of these programs. I guess what do you consider the most inspiring or the biggest kind of takeaways that you see in leadership development from the folks coming out of your courses?
Um, I get inspired by every program, by every program. There are people, what I love to see is that people come in unsure of what to expect, kind of like I hear a lot, yeah, I thought this was just going to be just like any other professional development program. Man, by the third day, they're completely blown away just by the amount of vulnerability, the friends that they make, the intentional and crafted program that we have that's provided by, our team and also Dr. Danielle. They people in particular love the impact groups. They love impact groups. Impact groups are at the top of every single day. And in this in each program, you will go into the impact groups and kind of just dissect kind of the assessment, whether it's a 360, whether it is a disc. And you sit in those groups and you just kind of discuss and hear and it's led by a facilitator, right? Each group is led by a facilitator. But within this group, you will have very candid and raw conversations and hear people's story and share advice because you never know if someone is going through something similar that you are. Maybe somewhere, if you're in LA, it might be someone in New York going through the same thing, and you guys can get together and kind of brainstorm and coach each other, right? So, I'm inspired every single program just by seeing people's growth throughout the week. I think I think we have some of the best programs, and I am not being a little biased, okay? But I but I think we have some of the best and most intentional programs for people in the transportation sector because it's specifically for people in transportation. And it's that is kind of few far and in between, especially for mid managers. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That was great. Well, just a reminder to everyone, we will be sending this out in an email to all of you who registered to attend today. So if you missed it or only caught part of it or missed some important information, you will receive the whole webinar recording.
Yes, you will. And you know what? I am not above making mistakes. So if I answered something incorrectly and I'm corrected, that will be included in the follow-up email, okay? So I am so grateful for all of you who joined me today. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you to Gabby. Thank you to Kirby. One more question?
One more question.
Okay.
Someone has asked, which program do you both think that would help someone transition into how to learn how to manage relationships and real conversations with senior management moving into that space? So it sounds like someone who's transitioning into senior management, but still trying to work on managing relationships with folks like that.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
That is a really good question. Give me an email, shoot me an email. But I
Yes,
think
yeah.
but at off top, I think that if this person was let's say this person was already alumni of TMM, I would say 100% TMM too, right? But I I would say TMM would be a good program. But I still would like to chat. So go ahead and shoot me an email at pdpsupport@enotrans.org and we can have a conversation if you'd like. Any
Awesome.
other
Well, I thank
questions?
you. You've knocked them all out.
Yes. This was great. And thank you for joining me for my first webinar of the year. Thank you so much. Again, feel free to reach out and thank you again for joining us. I hope you have a great holiday season and a great rest of your week.